Hello. I really don't know what's happening today. Um, for some reason, the network is misbehaving. Can you hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Growth Habits with Ngozi, and I am your personal guide on the journey of growth. So, who is here this afternoon? Yeah, this is not our normal time, but we had to do this makeup session because we could not be here on Tuesday. Yeah, we had somewhere to go on Tuesday. So just trying to check if I am audible. Can you hear me? All right. So, okay, at least I'm sure I am heard. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Growth Habits with Ngozi. I am your personal guide on the journey of growth. Remember that I don't just go on this journey, lead you. I go with you. I don't just lead you on the journey. I actually go on the journey with you. So who is here with me? Like I said, I know this is not our regular time, which may have thrown some of us off. Yeah, may have thrown some of us off. But then, because I couldn't do our Tuesday session. So if you're here with me, please do let me know. Let me know that you are here. Let me know that you are here. Let me know that you are here with me this afternoon. The network is kind of misbehaving, but I will go on. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to bother about this network. It has to be on growth habits. Okay, is really okay. The network is really trying to disrupt this live session, but it will not. We will go on with our live session. All right, so this is Growth Habits with Ngozi. I am your personal guide on the journey of growth. And as I said, I don't just lead you on this journey, I go on the journey with you. So as you are growing, I am also growing. As you are learning, I am also learning. Okay, so we started this new series in this new year. We talked about different aspects of growth in our personal life, growth in our business, growth in our spiritual life, growth in our finances, and all that. So today, or this period, let me not just say today, this period, we decided to look at the things that can hinder our growth, the things that can make us not to grow as we should. And last week, we looked at fear. We looked at fear as one of the major hindrances to growth. And fear is a natural human experience. Is a natural human experience. It's not, it's not something out of the ordinary. It's something that was given to us so that when we are threatened, or when we are in a situation where our life is threatened, or when we are in a situation where there is danger, the fear will help us, run away from that danger, will help us escape that the situation that is not safe for us. That is why we have that emotion, fear. That is why it was put into us as human beings. But many a times, it goes a little too far in many of our lives. We allow fear to take over. And when fear takes over, we begin to have issues. That is when we don't grow, when we allow fear to take over. And we say that some of the ways that you can handle fear when it begins to have the upper hand in your life is that you have to identify really what you're afraid of. What are you really afraid of and why? As I said last week, it's okay to be fearful, but you need to know why you are fearful. Why are you having that emotion? Why is the fear overtaking your ability to do whatever it is you want to do? Why is it that the fear is taking over? Okay, so you need to identify the fear. You have to know why you're afraid. It's not just, oh, what are the things I'm afraid of, but why am I afraid? I mentioned that last week that from this side of the world, we find it difficult to ask questions. We don't really interview or interact with our emotions to know why we are feeling them. We just, I'm afraid, that's it. Or I'm tired, that is it. We need to be able to sit down and figure out why we feel what we feel. Okay, then we said we should reframe our mindsets once we have identified our fear. We need to reframe our mindset. We need to change what we are telling ourselves about the fear or about our feelings or about our emotions. And then we need to begin to take small steps to make the changes that are necessary. And we also said that you need to embrace fear as a necessary part of life. Failure, sorry. We need to embrace failure as a necessary part of life because we will fail. Because that is usually what we're afraid of. Many of us, we're afraid of failing. We're afraid of not meeting up. We're afraid of not doing as well as we should. We need to embrace failure as a necessary part of life because we will fail in one thing or the other. I don't really know the activity that anyone will undertake and you do not fail come at all. There is no L. You just do it perfectly from the beginning to the end. So we need to be able to embrace fear and failure as a necessary part of growth. We need to be able to take the lessons that there are in failure and be able to move on. And then we finally said we should seek support. If you really are at a point where the fear is so overwhelming and you just don't know what to do, seek support. Look for support. Get a mentor. Ask questions. Get professional help. Get a coach. Whatever you need to do. So seek support where it is absolutely necessary. So that was our first session in this series on the hindrances to our growth. And today, in fact, when I looked at the number today, I was like, we should celebrate today, especially because this is session 50. 50. Wow, we have done 49 sessions. Today is the 50th session, and it is very remarkable that this is our 50th session. We need to celebrate it. We need to celebrate it. So I'm celebrating myself. Over the weekend, no, this week, I think this week, it was the beginning of this week. This lady won an Emmy, Missy Nash. And when she came to do her acceptance speech, she thanked herself. See, that is rare. Most people, you thank your mother, you thank your whole crew, you thank your fans, you thank everybody, and you don't remember to thank yourself. But Missy Nash took out time to thank herself for being able to do the needful. So today we want to rejoice and celebrate our 50th session. It is not easy. If I tell you it is easy, I am not telling you the truth. It is not easy to show up number 1 session, number 2, number 3, 4, 10, 15, 20, up to this 50th session. Honestly, it bears celebrating. So I am clapping for myself. I am clapping for myself. And I'm clapping for each of you that have either joined live or watched the replays. I am clapping for you. It is not easy. Okay, so this is our 50th session. We are still looking at the hindrances to growth. And today we are looking at negative self-belief. Negative self-belief as a hindrance to our growth, as something that prevents us from going forward as we should, as something that prevents us from achieving all that we should achieve. So this negative self-beliefs, they're thoughts that we have. They're statements that we have made. They're even images that we have formed in our mind, that we have formed in our subconscious many times. And These thoughts, these statements, these images have overpowered our outlook on life, our outlook on ourself, our outlook on just about everything. This negative self-beliefs. Remember, they are thoughts. They are words we say, they are statements we make, they are images we have formed, either about ourselves or about life in general. And these thoughts, these statements, these images, they have overpowered our outlook on life, and they have overpowered our outlook on ourselves. And of course, when we have these negative self-belief, I don't think we can grow. We can't grow because they put a cap unconsciously, subconsciously. They put a cap on what we can do. They put a cap on what we can achieve. They put a cap on all that we are able to do. For example, if I tell myself that I can't talk to people, that has already restricted 1,001 things that I can do. It has restricted it already because I believe I can't. But if I tell myself, okay, maybe I'm not the best talker, but I can try. It's already the fact that I've told myself I can try opens up opportunities for me. And when I see the opportunities, I will take advantage of them. So negative self-belief, remember, their thoughts, their words, their statements that we have even made out loud, and their images that we have formed in our head, in our minds. And these thoughts, these words, these statements, these images, they have overpowered our outlook on ourselves. They have overpowered our outlook on life. So these are the negative self beliefs that we are talking about. In fact, they have become so ingrained that our behaviors now align to those beliefs. Our choices now align to those negative self-belief that we have. Therefore, our potentials are limited. The ability that we have to even enjoy life generally is limited because of this negative self-belief that we have, because of this negative thought patterns that we have, because of this negative belief system that we have. It just shapes our behavior. It shapes the decisions that we take. It limits our potential and it hinders us from even just enjoying life. Talk less of growing. So, it's a, I don't want to say it's a killer, but it really does a lot of damage to us. We definitely cannot grow. We will remain in one spot. I think I told us last week that it's better actually that you're moving backwards. Because when you're moving backwards, you're seeing the motion of going backwards than that you're staying in one place and just moving around in circles. Because when you're staying in one place and moving around in circles, you have the feeling of motion. But that motion is not making any progress, is not benefiting in any way. It's just wasted effort. So negative self-belief keeps you in a place where you're just moving around in circles. You're just going around in circles. There is movement, but there is no progress. Okay, so these are what we want to talk about today, negative self-belief. And really, when you allow these negative self-beliefs to function in your life, you find it difficult to make decisions because those thoughts will keep playing or replaying in your mind when you want to take a decision. You'll be like, can I? Should I? Am I able to? Am I capable of? Because you already have these limiting thoughts in your head. So decision making becomes a chore. It becomes hard. It becomes difficult for you to take decisions. And it also affects your relationships. Because of these negative self-beliefs that you have, these negative thoughts, these negative thought patterns, these negative images that you have, you can't really establish relationships with people. You really can't, because already you have told yourself, in this area, maybe I'm not good enough. Okay. So, and because of this negative self belief, you also find that you withdraw from attention. You don't ever want to be the center of attention. You don't ever want to be in front. You always find your way to the back. Have you seen how this can prevent you from making progress, from growing in any aspect of your life? In any aspect of your life, it will put you at a standstill. This negative self belief, they will keep you at a standstill. And also, when we have this negative self belief, we are so sensitive to criticism. Honestly, we can't take criticism, and we can't see any criticism as an advantageous thing. We just can't. There is no criticism that is good. We take it wrongly, always, because we already have some thought patterns that are negative operating in our lives. Sometimes there's a lot of things that can cause this negative self belief. There are quite a lot of things that can cause it. And one of the major causes is some kind of unpleasant experience we had, either in our childhood, either in past relationships, and it just flavors every other relationship. It flavors how we think about every other thing. Another thing that can um, affect it, maybe, when you have like parents who are so critical. I don't know if any of us had that experience. You just could do no right. You could do nothing right before your parents. Anything you did, they found fault in it. The tendency is for you to grow up believing that you can't do anything well, believing that you're not worth anything. So, this is a who are now parents to look out for, so that we don't instill this negative self-belief in our children. Even as we're trying to ensure that you don't instill negative self-belief in your children, you now feed them falsehood. Okay. That we don't become the reasons why our children carry this negative self-belief, why they can't achieve anything. I hear people say, this my child is just useless. I'm like, how? Honestly, in my head, I'm like, how? How is it that someone that came out of you, someone that you trained, that you instilled some level of maybe discipline, some level of training into, is useless? How is that possible? No, when we say such things, sometimes we don't even realize that we are also telling ourselves that, we didn't do well. Because if you think at all in your children, they can't be useless. They can't. It's not possible. How would they be useless? Okay, so these are the basic causes of people having negative self-belief, some kind of unpleasant experience, either in relationships, somewhere you had very critical parents, and those childhood traumas cause you to have these negative self-beliefs. And also, it's possible for you, some kind of other trauma that maybe not necessarily from your parents, some other traumas. For example, if let's assume, okay, let me give us an example. When I was young, a dog bit me. A puppy, not even a real dog, a puppy. And for years, I was terrified of dogs, as in terrified, because each time I see a dog, I remember exactly what happened that day the dog bit me. As in, I remember every single aspect of it. And that made me terrified of dogs. Until one day I told myself, you cannot continue to be, every dog will not bite you. And It was when I began to think this way, I now realized what I did for that dog to bite me. You see, all these years, that part of the story convinced me short, and none of it was pleasant. So because of that trauma, I developed an unhealthy fear of dogs. But the day I confronted the fear of dogs, I now recalled, by the time I remembered what happened when that dog bit me, I remember that I pulled the dog by the tail. Do you see the difference? So when we have traumas in our lives, it generally causes us to have some kind of negative self-belief or something of that nature in our lives. So traumas, past pleasant experiences, maybe we had critical parents or caregivers, things like that. They are part of the causes of our having negative self-belief. And they are not all these things. I just gave us an example of how I overcame one, but it wasn't a negative self-belief, but it was a trauma that I went through. Okay, I can also give an example of negative self-belief that came about by an experience. When I was younger, um, my parents took us to America, and I was starting school there. And I remember that when I traveled from Nigeria to America, I had very low cut. This is what we do here. In Nigeria, when you're in primary school and all that, they usually barb your hair, and whether you're a male or female, barb your hair. And so I traveled with that low cut, and I got into school with that low cut. And see, sometimes are not always nice. They made fun of me. One, because I had the low cut. Two, because I was from Africa. It was obvious I was from Africa. I spoke like an African. My name was African. I didn't even, it was much later I realized that, okay, I have an English name I could use to, try and make this less traumatic. But my name was Ngozi, and nobody could pronounce it. My name is Ngozi Chukwuka. They couldn't even attempt. I said, okay, Ngozi now is short enough. They still could not pronounce the name well. So I just had a terrible time in those years. I was so already shy, but I now became an Enoch. That is inside. I went inside. I became terribly shy. I became afraid of human interaction almost. So that was a trauma. And that trauma made it that for years, and because they used to make fun of me, I felt I was not a fine girl. They told me I was not, basically, because of the low cut, because I looked like a boy and all those things. So for years, I believed I was not feminine in any it affected me for many years after, until the point where I just had to look at myself in the mirror. Truly. I just had to look at because people will be like, you're such a pretty girl. I'm like, no. Your face is beautiful. I'm like, no, you're not seeing well. Truly. But it got to a point I had to look at myself in the mirror one day and just be staring at myself, just seeing all the faults. I was seeing all the problems with my face. I was seeing how this side is crooked or the other one is crooked. That was all I was seeing initially as I looked at this is in my adult years. I couldn't see any beauty. I couldn't see any fineness because I have believed that I was not beautiful. I have believed because I've been told that I was an African booty scratcher, I was told that I looked like a boy. I acted like a boy. That one I couldn't help it. I was just a tomboy. But I was now told that I looked like a boy. So all those things made me believe I was not even, you can't even consider me beautiful in any way. until I sat down. Truly, this one, people will tell me, "Oh, you're a fine girl," and I can't believe it. I couldn't believe it that I was a fine girl, that I was beautiful. I had to tell myself that I had some good qualities. I truly looked in the mirror and began to speak these words out to myself before I could believe them. Okay, so I've almost basically told us the strategy, one of the strategies to overcoming negative self belief. And one is to just truly, first of all, write down your negative thoughts, those negative beliefs that you have. Sometimes we don't realize the therapy that comes from writing things down. Um, it's not even just to write, because for me, I wrote down all the blemishes I in everything. I wrote them all down on a piece of. I set that paper ablaze. And that process of writing it down, first I was writing it so I'm seeing them, and then the act of burning it, somewhere in my head, just released those thoughts. Truly, it worked for me. It might not work for everybody, but this is one way that you can overcome negative self-belief. Write down those negative thoughts, those negative statements you have made about yourself, those negative images you have formed about yourself. Write them down, put them down, write them down. And well, like I said, for me, I burnt them. But one thing you could also do is, after writing them down, truly look at them. Look at them one by one. Are they really worth your giving all the attention you're giving to them? Consider it. Think about it. They might not be worth it, but write them down and look at them. Consider if they are really, really worth it. And as you're considering this, another thing that works is that as you're writing the negative on a separate sheet of paper, write the opposite of that negative you have on the other paper. For example, "Oh, my face is crooked." Let me just say, on the other sheet of the paper, I'll say, "Yes, my face is distinctive. Nobody else has this type of face. Maybe it's crooked. It's possible that it's crooked, but it also means that nobody else's face is like this. My smile is crooked. Okay, yes, possibly. But it also tells me that nobody else has this kind of smile. No matter what you do, you cannot have a smile that is like mine. Oh, my front teeth are big. You can see my two front teeth are bigger than the others." That was a negative aspect. It was something that used to make me I don't smile. But I also wrote, yes, I can't change that. Maybe I could change that the teeth are big. Maybe, maybe not. But at the same time, it makes me distinctive. Even if you resemble me, because they say everybody has a doppelganger somewhere, someone that looks just like you in the world. Even if you look like me, by the time you open your mouth and smile, your teeth are not like mine. They are not. They are not. So, as you write those negatives, also write the positive. Take time to think about it. Truly, take time to think about the positive that can offset the negative. Okay. Another thing that helps is journaling. Write down how you feel. Keep a track. Keep track of your feelings. Write them down. See, writing is important. Now, when I say write, you must not have a physical journal where you write. You can journal on your phone, because some people are not good with writing. Journal on your phone. This phone has even made it easier that you can speak what you're saying and it will be written. Like if you use Samsung Notes, which is on your phone, and you want to write some things down, you can use the voice input. As you're speaking, the phone is writing what you're saying. Of course, it might make some mistakes because of accent, but basically, you get the general information. So, journal, write down, um, keep track of how you're feeling, why you're feeling how you're feeling, what is happening that made you feel what you felt. These things help you get in touch with your emotions. And many a times when we're in touch with our emotions, when we understand the whys of why we feel how we feel, we can find the solutions to them. It's because many times we don't understand the whys. We don't know why we feel how we feel. We just know I'm not feeling good, or I'm just not feeling the best, or I'm just sad. Why are you sad? Or I'm just unhappy. Why? What is the cause? When you write down, you get to the nitty gritty. You get down to the real things and figure out why you feel the way you feel. Then another thing you can do is to say yes to some things, to more things, things that you would usually say no to. Now, this is not taking up responsibility that is more than you. No, that's not what I'm saying. For example, you feel insecure talking before people. Do some things that make you talk before people. Say yes to some more things like that. You feel insecure. Okay, for like I said, I used to be insecure about my smile. Smile more. Just smile. You don't even have to, take picture of something. It doesn't have to be, smiling like, somebody does not have sense, but, take pictures of yourself smiling. Appreciate your smile. That is what I mean by say yes to things more often. So, like I said, I go back to my own examples. Felt my smile was crooked, and I had to smile. But just because my phone, the picture will never be posted anywhere. Another human being but me. Pick up my phone, put on the camera, smile, and look at my smile. So say yes to things more often. We have talked about two ways to deal with negative self image or self talk or self belief. They all go together. One is to write down those negative thoughts, those negative words, statements, those negative images. Write them down, first of all. And then on another sheet of paper, write the opposite. And when you are done, burn the negative. Just get rid of it. Get it out of your system and focus on the positives that you have written down. Two, we talked about journaling, writing down your thoughts, writing down your feelings, writing down the why you are feeling how you are feeling. Just note them down, write them down. This generally will help you overcome the negative self beliefs because you're replacing them with positive. See, you can't overcome negative self beliefs if you're not replacing them. There has to be a replacement. There has to be a replacement because our minds will not just stay with nothing. Though you filled it with the negative all this while, you filled your mind with the negative thoughts, the negative statements, the negative images. So you need to now, as you're removing them, you have to replace them with something. You have to. So that's why you need to do the positive. Okay, so I'm just going to try and list a few general negative beliefs that we have and give us an example of some positives that we can use to replace them. One that, many of us have is the thought that I'm a failure in life. I have failed. And I tell anybody, you are truly not a failure. No one is truly a failure in life. No person. Even that person that seems to have hit rock bottom is not a failure because there's still a possibility to come up. It's only when you fall and you remain down that maybe, even that one is still a maybe, that you can call yourself a failure. So maybe you have not achieved as much as others have, but you have achieved something. So first of all, understand, I think I said this last week, that failure is a part of life. It is part of life. Take it that is even part of a successful life. Accept that. So as the negative self-thought of I am a failure in life is going through your head, tell yourself failure is a part of a successful life. It is ingrained. If I am failing in one thing or the other, it means that I'm challenging myself. Otherwise, I wouldn't fail. You can't fail if you don't try. Do you understand? If you're not making an attempt to do, you wouldn't fail. So for the fact that you're even doing something, you're attempting something, it means you're challenging yourself. So failure truly does exist in that way. That is a bad thing. Turn it around. Turn it around. It's only when you give up that you have truly failed. As long as you still attempt, you still try, you have not failed. There is no. The next thought that I think many of us have, many of us go through, I don't have any purpose in life. I don't have any purpose. Is a negative self-belief, is a negative self-thought, is a negative self, image that we have. I don't have any purpose in life. But I've been told that the primary purpose of every individual is just to be present in the now. This is said by Eckhart Tolle. Be present in the now. So if the fact that you are alive first means you have a purpose. The fact that you are alive means that you have a purpose. So just live in the moment, be present in the now first. Have full awareness of the current moment. Just be. That is purpose enough. Now, this is not me trying to get you to be lazy. This is not me trying to get you not to, challenge yourself. This is not me trying to get you not to try to do, things. No. This is me trying to get you to understand that the fact that you are, the fact that you exist is actually enough. Start from there. Start from By the time you start from there, you will begin to see that there are people who are enjoying life because you are. There are people who are doing well just by the fact that you are alive, that just by the fact that you exist. There are people whose growth is tied to you being alive. But you won't see this if you just think, oh, I don't have any purpose. No, my life is just purposeless. Nothing. So turn it around. Turn around that negative belief that you don't have any purpose and understand that your being alive is something. Your being, your existing is something. And then you move from there. From that point, you can move forward. But come to that point first where you know that just your being alive is something. Another thing, another negative self thought, another negative self belief that we have, many of us, is that I can't be successful. I'm basically, worthless. I can never be successful. Maybe because of the struggles we are going through now, it seems as if everything is just hard, hard, hard. It seems as if anything I want to do, I have to put in so much energy into it. And even in the end, it doesn't even end well. It doesn't even go as well as expected. And therefore, we begin to think, I will never be successful. I just can't be successful. But let me just tell you one thing. In this life, in this life, just the fact that we are alive, I'm going back to this because I think it's very important. Just the fact that you are alive is something, number one. Number two, that no matter the circumstance, so no matter the difficulty, no matter how hard things are for you presently, I am not diminishing that things may be hard. I'm not diminishing the fact that you have put in effort and it doesn't seem to be working. I'm not diminishing that at all. But you can always succeed. You can always improve. You can always do better. You just have to, step back, review, and then move. You can always do better. And, there is no need comparing your life to another person's own, because this is what causes us to think we are not successful. When we are comparing our lives with someone else, we are looking at our friends who are our age mates. We are looking at maybe our siblings self. We are looking at people around us who seem apparently to have it all together. And I tell you, this I tell you for free, I tell you without fear of being contradicted, it is not as good with them as you think. See those people you're seeing, you're comparing your life with, they are not making it as much as you think. So stop comparing yourself. If you must compare, compare to you yesterday. Compare your present state to how you were yesterday. If there must be comparison, there is no need looking at another person's life and thinking, oh, this person is doing so much better than me. Just a minute. And thinking this person is doing so much better than me. If you really, truly look at that person's life, because we can't live another person's life. We can't go into another person's life most times. We only see what they show. That's all we see. And some people are good at covering the bad and presenting the good. And you're seeing only the good and you're comparing yourself. You're comparing their half with your whole. Wait till you see their whole first. If you must really compare, wait till you see their whole. So you can't be worthless. You cannot not succeed, You can succeed. It is possible. You just need to change your measure. The basis of your measurement, change it. Measure, compare against you, of yesterday, not any other person. And you will see that you have succeeded to an extent. And from that point, you can move on. From that point, you can move on. Okay. What other negative self-belief can I talk about? There are so many. There are so many that we tell us. Oh, one that this one, because I know that I've seen it a lot. So I'm not smart enough for that. Who told you? Who told you that you're not smart enough? Who really told you that you're not smart enough? You are smart enough right now. But see, the point is that you can become smarter. You can. You can improve. So, what are you measuring really? What kind of smartness are you measuring when you say you're not smart enough? Some people are book smart, but some people are is it emotional smart? What's the word I want to use now? They have emotional intelligence. Some people are street smart. They are not book smart. So when you're saying I'm not smart enough, okay, maybe you're not as book smart as someone else, but possibly you're more street smart than that same person. Possibly you're more emotionally intelligent than that person you're comparing. See, this comparison thing, this is the root of most negative self-belief. The root is comparison many a times. So what is the measure? What smartness are you really measuring when you think you're not smart enough? Is it just book smart? Or is it street smart? But even whichever one it may be, whichever one, whether you're measuring book smart or street smartness, stop comparing yourself to others. Stop comparing yourself to others. There was a time um, in my life that I was comparing myself to other people, fellow chartered accountants, people who qualified just about the same time as I did, people who been qualified after me, and I was comparing myself, and it looked like I hadn't achieved as much as these other people had. But I have this thing, honestly, it is a gift, and I thank God for it, honestly, that I know how to sit myself down and tell myself the truth. It is a gift. I thank God for it every day. So I will always sit myself down when these thoughts start bombarding my head, because there's nobody that is immune to negative self-belief, negative self-thought. Nobody is immune. All of us go through it. But what sets us apart is that some people now wallow in it, while others sit themselves down and have discussions with themselves. So I have these discussions with myself constantly, honestly. Sometimes I'm even like, Ngozi, are you sure you're okay? Is this not a sign of, small madness that you're always talking to yourself? But really, it has helped me through a lot. I sit myself down in my head. I am talking to myself. I'm like, you say, well, you're comparing yourself with so and so person. This person you're comparing yourself with, are they married? Do they have children? Because, these are elements of my own life that would affect to some extent my ability to do some things. So I sit down. So if the answer is yes, this person is married, yes, this person has children, I sit down again. I'm like, okay, no problem. She's married, she has children. Is she married to Ejike? No, she's not. Are her children so? Do that, No. Does her husband have the same characteristics as my husband? No. Do her children have the same characteristics as my children? No. No. And by the time I begin to have this discussion in my head and I bring up these points, honestly, before I'm done with that self analysis or whatever we want to call it, I am good. I have convinced myself that this comparison is not, you're not comparing apple to apple. You're comparing apples and oranges. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Because nobody else's life can be like yours, no matter what. Nobody else's life will ever be exactly the same as yours. Even twins don't have exactly the same life. So when I sit myself down and I have these discussions in my head, and it goes like, as I'm talking now, this is how I'm talking in my head to myself. So this person you're comparing yourself with, does she have this? Does she have this? Are these things in her, environment? Is she in the same environment as you are? And by the time I am done having this discussion with myself, I've changed that negative self-belief to a positive one. And I believe that this will help any of us. It can help anyone. It can help anyone. Do not accept these negative thoughts. Don't. Find a way to turn them to positives. Sit yourself down and have these discussions with yourself. Tell yourself the real truth. Truly, the truth you tell yourself is more valuable than the truth someone else tells you. It's that one you tell yourself most times that you believe. The one someone tells you, you might believe it. Yeah, it works. It's true. But until you sit yourself down and tell yourself the truth, that one hits home more than the one just anyone tells you. So I hope I've been able to help you this afternoon. I hope that I've been able to pass across some kind of wisdom to help you get through negative self-belief, to help you turn them to positives, to help you paint another picture, to help you develop another image in your head, to help you form positive statements about yourself and not allow yourself to wallow in the negatives. I hope I've been able to. I know a lot of people were thrown off by the change of date and the fact that, oh, let me tell us something very funny. I put up a poll for people to say which day we should do this makeup session. And only one person voted on that poll, and the person picked Friday. Already in my head, I had wanted to do it on Friday, but, I just said, let me put it out there. And the person picked Friday. And somewhere in my head, the dates got all muddled up. And I thought yesterday was Friday. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't put up any notice for this. I didn't even remember about it. So the Friday is gone and I didn't do the makeup session. And I was already thinking, and on Monday, I will not have the opportunity on Monday, then Tuesday again. All right, I was already having all these discussions in my head. And I was supposed to go somewhere with my daughter on Saturday. So I told the person that was supposed to do some, one or two things for us so that Saturday movement will be possible. Yesterday, I saw her yesterday and I told her, tomorrow, that is today, you will do so and so that I can do what I want to do with my daughter. And in my head, yesterday was Friday, today, Saturday, and all that. So I told her, and she was like, oh, no problem, I will do it for you. Later on, my daughter now called me and was like, I thought our outing was supposed to be on Saturday. I said, yes, now it's on Saturday, tomorrow. She said, Mommy, no, tomorrow is Friday. It was at that point I picked up my phone and looked at the date, and truly, yesterday was Thursday. So I quickly did the post for today's session so that I still met up with the Friday 12 noon session. So you see that truly this was meant to happen today. But I know, like I said, lots of people did not know about it. And but I know we will watch the replay. So thank you for joining me this afternoon on Growth Habits with Ngozi. I'm glad I was able to do this session truly, because even myself, a lot of things became clearer to me as I was talking. I gained some insight on some things, even as I was talking to us today. So thank you once again for joining me. Those that will watch on the replay, I trust you enjoy every single moment of this session. And be sure to make today count. Be valuable and grow. Join me next week. I'm not even sure we're going to be able to do the Tuesday session next week, but I will let us know. There are a couple of things around me right now that's making my time a little bit, what's the word I want to use? Not quite stable. So I will let us know if it will happen on Tuesday. If not, we'll do another day and have the makeup session. So thank you for joining me once again. I appreciate every minute you spend with me, and I appreciate that you do take out time to join live and to watch on the replay. Thank you very much once again. Next week, we'll consider another aspect of hindrances to our growth. We'll look at another aspect next week, and I hope we're actually gaining from this. I just felt that to begin the year, it would be good to look at the things that would stop us so that we deal with them first before we begin to run into whatever it is else it is that we want to do for the rest of the year. So thank you all once again for joining me. Remember to follow us on all our social media handles: YouTube, Growth Habits with Ngozi; Instagram, Growth Habits with Ngozi; join our Facebook group, Growth Habits with Ngozi; TikTok, Growth Habits with Ngozi. I hope that you interact with us, because it's not just to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Interact with the videos, make comments, ask questions, even in the Facebook group. Interact with the posts that are being made there. Make your comments, ask your questions. I'm always available to answer any question that you may have. Thank you once again for joining me this afternoon. Remember, this is Growth Habits with Ngozi, and I am your personal guide on the journey of growth. Have an awesome day. Bye.